Hey citizens, welcome to 11's Hangar. Today, we're taking a look at the RSI Mantis in Star Citizen 3.15.1. We will briefly go over some basics about the ship, then we'll go over the use and functionality of the quantum enforcement device, followed by a deep dive in the suite. For its size, the Mantis has decent interior space, which includes a bed and bathroom. For weapons, the Mantis has two size 3 missile racks, housing a total of 4 size 2 missiles, and 2 size 3 weapon hardpoints, sporting 2 size 3 FL-33 laser cannons from Kronik. Components consist of 2 size 1 shield generators, 2 size 1 coolers, 1 size 1 power plant, and 1 size 1 quantum drive. But that's not all when it comes to the Mantis. Its chassis houses a device capable of pulling ships out of quantum travel via a quantum enforcement device, or QED for short. Let's take a closer look. On the Mantis, the QED has 2 functions. We will cover the quantum snare first. We power on the QED by holding the interaction key and highlighting the location you see on screen. Then selecting QED on with left click on your mouse. When the menu changes, click Q snare charge. The rate of charge can be increased based on the amount of power diverted to the weapon capacitor via the power triangle. Once the snare is fully charged, we go to the interaction key again, and then activate the snare. Using this device requires you to be in the path of a ship's quantum travel route. The quantum dampener activation is similar to the snare, but done on the right side of the instrument panel and requires no charge time. Just power on and activate. Unfortunately, the range of the dampener is limited to 2,000 meters. However, if the ship that you are holding doesn't have the speed to evade you, then they are still at your mercy and the mercy of your crew. Regardless of what mode you use, the dampener will also block all ships in the vicinity from jumping, including you. This will be indicated by the icon you see here. During testing, we noticed that the effect varied when you are in a party with others in proximity to the active QED. Effects on party members seemed intermittent at best, and I suspect that there may be some issues with quantum enforcement that have yet to be worked out by CIG, or it could have been a struggling server. Let's go into the suite and take a deeper look.
All right, welcome to the suite. I wanted to go over a few things in regards to using the snare. We're going to use an example here of a jump directly from Hurston to Crusader. We're going to say that this is the ship to be intercepted, starting its path from Crusader. We're going to be about, let's call that 2 million out from Crusader, waiting for the Andromeda to go by. Now I've read, on Reddit and Spectrum, people talk about issues that they have with the snare not working. And this is usually due to jump routes that are used, especially if you're tracking a bounty and you kind of have some idea of where they're coming from, then you want to try to be in their path. And here's the issue that we usually run into. I'm sure you are all familiar with the orbital markers that are around a planet. So you have like Ohm 1, Ohm 2, Ohm 3, and so forth. From what I've seen in testing is that even if you are like in an orbital marker and you have a clear line of sight to, say, Crusader, or wherever it is that you're jumping to the main planetary body, your point where you drop out usually tends to be the same. But let's say that you are somewhere like one of the moons and you line up for Crusader. It seems as if where you would drop out, like if you jumped from one of the ones, Ariel, if you jump from Ariel directly to Crusader, that you were able to do that. Because of its point in space and its relative proximity to Hurston, you may very well come out somewhere near the same location, but the snare is only 20 kilometers. And most of you know, even orbital markers are definitely more than 20 kilometers apart. So knowing what you're trying to snare, knowing common jump routes, or maybe even ones that are a little bit shorter, like for instance, jumping from Crew L1 to Crusader, or jumping from L4 to Crusader. It's a straight shot. There's no other place you could be coming from. So let's say you wanted to try to be in somebody's path and they weren't coming directly from Hurston or within that region that's going to drop them out within this zone to allow you to block them. Let's say that they were jumping from Ariel or L4. What you would want to do, and we'll use this as an example here. We'll just call this, just for reference, we'll call this L4. Crew L4, her L4, whatever, it doesn't matter. And they're jumping to Crusader. Now, if you see them there, or their marker around there, then what you can do, if you're sitting directly in front of Crusader, you can start your jump in the direction that they're in. Start your jump, and then just stop it. That way you don't run into an issue where, hey, they did jump back to Crusader, they're just 200 kilometers away, you're not picking them up and you didn't snare them. Jump in their direction. Even if the jump is big, like if it's a longer jump, like Crusader to Hurston, jump towards Hurston a little bit and jump back. Not all the way, just jump back 500,000 kilometers or something like that, just so that you know that you're on that direct path. It doesn't guarantee it, but at least it gets you in a better place to be able to snare a ship. Now, I do think that, orbital markers, like if that was your destination point, we'll do them there. Let's say we jump directly from Hurston to Crusader, we come out there. I'm pretty sure that if you jump from an orbital marker, somewhere in this travel, you do wind up being on that path that is very similar to there, and it'll put you out the same place. I only think that this really happens with orbital markers, from what I've seen and what I've tested. Jumping from another moon, jumping from some other place, you're going to drop out somewhere different. To test that, I jumped from a few orbital markers, and then I jumped from a few moons around Hurston to see where in Crusader I would come out. And it wasn't due to the rotation of Crusader, if it's rotating at all. It was actually based on the fact that when I jumped from those locations, I would come up at a different point. So I hope that helps. I hope that gives you a little bit of understanding of what may not be happening when you attempt to use the snare, and may give you a better idea of how to get it to work and function the way that you would like it to. Side note, the QED device has worked and not worked between when this ship was announced and today. This testing is based on a few days ago. Who knows what they've changed? So granted, yeah, your issues may have been based on functionality just totally not being there. But as tested over the last few days, this is functional, it works, it pulls things out, and The reason why I focused on the snare as opposed to the dampener is a very short range. A very short range. And I've tried it a few times and seen ships jump away. And, I was under the impression, I think at the time, that the proximity was 4,000 kilometers with the dampener, but it's 2, and actually we've seen it as short as 1980. I'm not sure what the variables are, but it seems like in the snare's current form, even if you do not pull a ship out of warp, you still have a 20-kilometer bubble that will keep a ship from jumping. Justin, if you want to make sure that is working, you can use this symbol. The symbol that you'll see in the top right corner of your screen. That is letting you know that you're being jammed. When you use this and you are the Mantis, yes, you cannot jump. If you are being affected by it, maybe you're at a distance you can't see the ship, because the Mantis can jam you from beyond visual range for a few ships. Check the top right corner of your screen, see if that icon is there. That should give you some idea about what's going on. I know some of us that have been playing the game a little longer, you remember those pirate interdictions and that thing would come up, or maybe you've been pulled out by the UEE tracking you in the Mantis. You'll see this little thing come up on the screen identifying that you are being jammed. So that is something to also keep in mind, especially if you abruptly wind up coming out of quantum and don't see anything around. I hope that this was helpful. I hope that it sheds some more light on how to use the Mantis. Very awesome platform, very powerful ship. It creates a lot of scenarios that are pretty awesome for pirates, for bounty hunters, and I look forward to this ship getting a little bit more work done to it, and then finalizing some things with quantum travel and quantum interdiction. And that's it for now.
The Mantis has decent flight capabilities and can definitely hold its own in combat if you put the time in. When making adjustments to your direction in flight, adding a little boost makes its responsiveness just right. With a little practice, staying on target with this fixed loadout is fairly low maintenance. I do suggest using the Mantis in a squad with other, more combat-focused ships to capitalize on the features it brings to the table. Additionally, the Mantis is available in the Pledge Store or at New Deal in Lorville for 1.23 million Alpha UEC. I'd like to give a special thanks to Wraith Squad member Sykes for initiating the testing of the Mantis. Over the next 4 weeks, leaving a comment on any 11's Hangar content will put you in the drawing for an Avenger Titan game package. Well, that's it for now. On behalf of 11's Hangar and Wraith Squad, stay frosty, and we'll see you in the verse. 11 out.